This is not financial nor professional advice. This video is for entertainment only. So how was your Friday? If it was anything like mine, I felt like someone who had just ridden a Brahma bull. It was wild. At times I wondered if it was Halloween because they kept talking about all these witches. It was quadruple witching day on the stock market Friday. I guess that's when all the futures and options and index contracts, whatever they are, and have to be renegotiated. I don't go in for that sort of thing. I find that it's hard enough to find the general trend of the market over time, let alone trying to predict when it's going to happen. I mean, that is the question always in my mind, when it's going to happen. Sometimes I guess you could have a clear vision if some event was coming up, but with myself, I think it's just easier to buy or sell the stock. I have a list of stocks that I've been investing in the last 2 days. And sort of my thesis is that I think we're probably somewhere at a market turnaround, or at least it's good enough that I'm starting to partially believe that it might be okay to go back in. And so I'm going back in. Not totally, but I'm going halfway in, let's say, and I've selected 10 different stocks, and they're different types and levels of risk. And I'll start with the most risky one first, and we'll go to the top rated one, which is, of course, the least risky one. So my number 10 stock was Roblox. RBLX is the symbol, and they have a user base that has 50% or more of their user base is kids and below age 13. And so it appeals to a certain demographic, and they've been around for about 15 years, maybe more, but at least 15 years. And they allow you to create games on the site, and you can also participate in games, and they have revenue sharing with the people that create games. People that play the games buy little extra doodads that help them play the game better, and I guess that's quite a major source of revenue for them. But its revenue has increased 56% and 81% in the last 2 years. So it's a very good growth story. And like many of my stocks, Kathy Wood is invested in Roblox. So if we look at the VectorVest chart, you can see that it's my riskiest stock. If we look at the VectorVest chart, we can see that they rate it as mildly bearish on upside potential, which I think is wrong, simply because of the 56% and 81% revenue growth. The safety is mildly bearish, and they're neutral on timing. I can forgive them on the neutrality of the timing, because that is always the question, isn't it? But I think Kathy Wood is usually right in the sense of massive growth, companies that are contributing to the metaverse or potentially will be contributing to the metaverse in the future are not really understood by the analyst. And I'm going to say that I think they have undervalued the stock and are overlooking the massive revenue growth. So far, Roblox has been a gainer for me. Of course, I've only had it 2 days. I bought some one day and a little bit more the next day. So I've had it 2 days, and it's up a little bit. But it was down in that time. And so I basically bought it at a lower price, and it came up somewhat. So no big deal. On the VectorVest system, One is right in the middle. It goes from 0 to 2, with 2 being the best that a stock can get. And a rating of 1 is right in the center. And I more or less have said that I won't buy a stock that's less than 1. At least I won't buy it if it's less than 1. And this is overall rating is 0.78. So I am violating that rule, but I think I'm violating it. I'm sort of a conscientious objector to the rule because I think it's undervalued by VectorVest. Number 9 on the list is Palantir with an overall rating of 1.04. Well, at least I didn't have to violate it by don't go below a 1 number. But they technically rated as a hold. And my history with Palantir is I've owned it in the teens, I've owned it in the early 20s. You know, I've made a little money, but no big money. And I keep waiting for it to have that liftoff moment. For me, it's like I like explosive growth, okay? And when I'm not afraid to buy a stock if it's higher, if it looks like it's going to finally take off. And I think it finally is making serious enough moves upward that I threw in the towel and said, yeah, I'm going in on it. And I went in on it in sort of a major way, simply because I've invested in this company on and off for the last 2 years, and I'm just sick of it, and I'm just going to put the money in and let it sit there. And it's a fairly major amount of money, but I do believe in this company, and I'm just going to let it stick there. If we look at the VectorVest chart, they are bearish on its upside potential, which I think is a mistake because Palantir gets more contracts every day, and they're especially expanding their commercial side of their business. And they have an underlying total buy-in to the United States government, and they're helping health and military agencies. So that part of their business is absolutely solid, and they're growing in the commercial business. What's so impressive about Palantir is they're a massive data analyzer. They contend that you give them any, and I mean any, set of massive data, and they can help you draw conclusions about what you need to do. So the more data you feed them and the more quality data, the better your answer will be. And I believe them on that. So VectorVest gives them a close to neutral rating of 1.04, which I think is an underestimate. But again, I think this company is very hard to understand, and it will go up more as more analysts understand the full implications. At least VectorVest thinks the timing on Palantir might be right, and I think they're noticing that the price is starting to make a major jump upwards. Number 8 on the list was an easy pick for me. That's Unity Software. They are responsible for 70% of the top 1,000 mobile games. It allows developers to develop games without having to know how to code. That's always been the problem. I've had people in my private practice when I was working as a psychologist who were developing games, but they didn't know how to code. And so that was always the problem. Knowing how to code is the big deal, I think, with computers. I used to be a computer programmer in the 1980s, and I might as well say I used to write with hammer and chisel because it's so different now. We used to dream of being able to do the things you can do now. But I think Unity has allowed people to dream about what can be made as far as creating games. Their revenue has increased 41% per year for the last 2 years. This is definitely something that's going to stay with us and going to be a major influence. So I'm completely comfortable with putting not major money, but some money into it. And I probably will put more money into it. I put the same amount in it that I put into Roblox. I see this as the older brother to Roblox. This is more for the real serious developers. They're more into 3D and augmented and virtual reality. This is a very good stock. The rating by VectorVest, I love VectorVest. I think they do a really good job overall. But again, and it's understandable, as Kathy Wood points out, these explosive growth companies aren't always going to be appreciated fully for what they could do. I think this stock is likely to triple within 5 years. I think that's probably being conservative, but which mystifies me that VectorVest has their upside potential as bearish. And they think they're mildly bearish on it being a safe stock. But the one thing they see as positive is timing. And I think they're noticing that the stock is starting to move. And that's basically when I get in on a stock. I guess I am all about timing. I think that's it's a big part of stock investing is timing. And I think now is the time to jump in. I think this is one of those that you could have the fear of missing out, maybe a little too much, and maybe I FOMO'd in a little bit, but I don't think it's going to hurt me. But their overall rating ends up being a neutral 1.06, which I think is going to increase when they see it exploding to the upside. Number 7 on the list is a favorite of mine. Incidentally, I've made videos on all these companies within the last 2 months. So if you want further in-depth information, you might want to take a look at those. They'll give you a good basis. Matterport makes cameras that more or less reconstructs the interior of buildings and can be used by real estate agents, construction engineers, this sort of thing. They more or less put into 3D reality what your reality is. You could 3D your house and you could use your smartphone. It wouldn't be the greatest job, but they sell specialized cameras for $500 and above that'll do a very nice job, where you sit the camera down from place to place in your house or whatever building you're doing, and it reconstructs and puts together the different images, which is sort of amazing. It's like artificial intelligence comes to cameras. But they have very high-end cameras for like corporations that want to do large spaces or a multiple range of spaces. And those cameras are very expensive. And I think Matterport's going to make major money on those for sure. If we look at the VectorVest ratings, VectorVest ratings show bearish upside potential and somewhat bearish safety. But look at that timing. They give it a 1.84. They give it almost the maximum on timing, so that the overall comes out. I think it just barely makes it as a buy, and it mostly makes it because of its recent pop in price, which shows that it's starting to take off. I'm just a little surprised, but very happy with VectorVest's upside rating. Number 6 on the list is Etsy. The best reason for owning Etsy is they have over 5 million sellers that Etsy makes money on and over 90 million buyers that Etsy makes money on. This site is all about making money, and they have it monetized in a way that makes sense and is easy to follow and isn't confusing, which leads to my liking it better than Shopify. Shopify seems like a more corporate image to me and doesn't have the personalized touch that I like as a buyer. VectorVest likes Etsy's upside potential while thinking it has okay safety and okay timing. And they give it a good rating overall for this concierge stock, I want to say, that will get you that special gift for that person that's hard to buy for. All the stocks I've been talking about, except for Matterport, have been invested in by Kathy Wood's ARK funds. So I guess I've been pretty affected by her investment style, as when I ran across her, and I ran across her before she became famous, my thought was, finally, somebody is investing in the next big thing, which is what we're all looking for. Please like and share, and be sure to catch my next video where I'll describe my top 5 stocks that I'm putting major money into. Thank you, and may the sun always shine on your investments. And here's my list of the 10 hot stocks I'm investing in. I'm going to follow up this video with another video that goes over more extensively the top 5 investments on this list that I've put major money into. Thank you.